people that worked in clay, especially functional potters, had an advantage because people were always buying pots. Everyone uses pots. The disadvantage was, I just mentioned, that to do serious work, which was all very uncertain about whether it would be accepted or sold, because I've had some shows that almost sold out, and other shows hardly anything sold.
Right.
It was maybe more experimental. Like the painting on clay show was a complete show of that, and I sold very little out of that. And it was one of the best shows I think I ever had.
And yet that's the piece, the little red eye
Yeah,
piece.
It just wasn't accepted at that time. People said, well, you used to do such nice glazes. What do you want to put paint on? You know, it was a different kind of technique, and you can control paint. In some ways, you can't control glazes, but it's a stereotype attitude that people have about the purity of clay and the glazes. And not too long ago, you didn't destroy the purity of the material by adding something else to it, or you might put a base under it if you were courageous. That was about it. And most of the clay people followed that. Volkus rarely did anything with his clay work other than glaze it or stain it. John Mason, most of the things I've ever seen of his are pure clay. At that time, if you started sticking wood or metal into things and they weren't integrated so much, but a foreign item, people somehow didn't accept it. I did. I liked the idea of using foreign materials. And that's when the most successful fetish pieces were, when the feathers and the clay integrated together and they didn't look like trimming, they looked like they were part of an extension. But I think it was hard for people to think clay is clay, and it should remain that. But now it's so entirely different. It's hard to tell if something is pure clay or something else. And with the glazes, with lusters, and with metallic surfaces, it's hard to tell whether it's clay or metal or a combination of both.